Albert Einstein.
And I'm Werner von Braun.
Today we are going to teach you German folk our life stories, starting with my life.
I was born March 14th, 1879 in Württemberg, Germany. I grew up in a middle-class Jewish family. My father, Hermann, owned an electrochemical factory, and my mother was a homemaker. I had one younger sister named Maja. I always struggled with school, especially during elementary school, where I felt out of place and didn't get the Prussian-style education system.
So you were a real Einstein in school, huh?
Haha.
In 1994, my father's company went out of business, so they moved to Milan, Italy. However, I stayed to complete my education, but when I was forced to join the military, I dropped out of school and quickly moved to my parents. I applied to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, Switzerland. After completing a special high school, I graduated at age 17.
That's very impressive.
I met Maliva Merrick, my first wife, in Zurich, and we had a baby in 1902, who was either died of sickness or given up for adoption. It's unknown. And we married in 1903. 1905 was known as my miracle year, where I published 4 papers in one of the best-known physics journals. The 4 papers included the photoelectric effect, the Brownian motion, special relativity, and the equivalence of matter and energy. Most people know me for my equation E equals mc squared. My papers were ignored until my buddy Max Planck looked at them and he decided he liked them too.
With Maliva and having 2 lovely sons, I divorced her in 1919, and then later I married my cousin, Elsa.
In 1950, I completed the general theory of relativity and I received the Nobel Prize. Not because of relativity, but because I'm awesome. Just kidding, it's because of my photoelectric effect. While I'm touring around the country, Nazi Germany is rising, and they decide to denounce me because I am Jewish. In 1932, I decided to leave Germany because it's obvious that the Nazis want me dead. They even published a magazine captioning "Not Ye Hanged" on the cover of it with my picture. During the late 1930s, physicists began seriously to consider my equation E equals mc squared to make an atomic bomb. My colleagues were asked to come to New Mexico to develop the first atomic bomb. However, I was not because the U.S. government feared my association with peace organizations. In my recent years, I've been trying to disprove quantum theory because people keep using that theory over mine and it's not fair.
I'm trying to incorporate quantum physics into my unified field theory, and I've stopped seeing people and visiting people so I can focus on my career. Thank you for watching my boring life, and now it's time for
Werner von Braun time. My name is Werner von Braun, and I was born on March 23rd, 1912 in Würsitz, Germany, which is now in Poland. I was the middle child in my family. My older brother, Magnus, was named after my father, and I also have a younger brother named Sigmund, born into a wealthy family. My father, Magnus, was the Minister of Agriculture during the Weimar Republic, and my mother, Emmy, can trace her lineage back to European medieval royalty. Young boy in school, I struggled in math and physics.
Struggle Buddies!
But I found a book that interested me, and then I began to excel at math and physics. Later on, I became interested in rocket propulsion. One time, I actually strapped rockets to a wagon and shot it down a busy Berlin street.
You could say you're a rocket man.
I soon became a top student in my school. I enrolled at the Berlin Institute of Technology in the late 1920s and graduated with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering in 1932. I later enrolled at the University of Berlin and got my doctorate degree in physics. During this time, I also got a grant from the Ordnance Department of Germany to do in-depth research on rocketry. In the 1940s, me and my team moved to a new facility in Peenemünde in northeastern Germany. We developed supersonic missiles and ballistic missiles, also known as the V2, meaning Vengeance Weapon 2. Adolf Hitler was Germany's leader at the time, and he heard all about my V2 weapons. He became interested in using the V2 weapons in World War II and sent Gestapo chief Heinrich Himmler to take over the V2 project. I refused to allow Himmler to take over, and I was arrested on espionage charges. Himmler thought that I was going to share my V2 rockets with the Allies. Hitler released me himself from prison and invited me to join the SS, which was the protective squadron of the Nazi Party. Hitler used my V-2 weapons in 1945 without my permission and when the rockets weren't ready. He used them against places such as Paris, France, and London, England. Later in 1945, the Russians were coming to close in on our facility. My team could either be captured or killed by the Russians or surrender to the Americans. We surrendered to the Americans. My team and I signed a contract with the Americans and began working at a facility in Alabama. From 1960 to 1970, I developed the Saturn IB and the Saturn V space vehicles, and the Saturn I rocket for the Apollo 8 moon orbit in 1969. Each launch was successful. In 1972, I became the vice president of the aerospace company. I founded the National Space Institute. And some people say that I am the Einstein of space and rockets.
Oh, no, you're not.
I'm working on more rockets. And I am happily married to my maternal cousin Maria. And I have 3 children, Peter, Iris, and Margaret. And I recently found out that I have cancer, so we'll see how that goes. Joining us,
Albert Einstein.
and Werner von Braun.
Tschüssi.
Auf Wiedersehen.